Hello, my name is Kimberly Stewart Lucas, also known as Warrior Mamas, and this is Dish with the Doula, a very special episode. Thank you for joining us. Hello and welcome to Dish with the Doulas, where we talk about all things pregnancy, labor and delivery, birth, and really overall women's reproductive health. And today is a really different episode. We've been talking about it for a couple of episodes on the need to do this. And today is the fathers and men episode. The setup is different. The number of guests is different. It's going to be something really different and new. But I'm excited that everyone that is around this table is here joining us to talk about the things that are very important as far as fathers' involvement, fathers' connection, men being a part of the team because they are essential. So let's see how we're going to do this. So let me first start here. The reason why this show is even happening, the catalyst for this will go back to December 31st, when I did my last birth vision board workshop with Warrior Mamas. And we were gathered at Cupcakery in East Point. And during the workshop, this brother, good friend of ours, Sylvester, came in. I don't even know if you knew that we were having the workshop, but you came back there, you gave us some cupcakes, you always showing love and support. And you said to us, you know what? What if I was with a friend that went into labor and we were making our way to the hospital? What can I do? What can I do for her? The basics. Because one thing for those that may not know about Sylvester, he is, how should I say it? You are about action. You're about knowing how to do things for self. If I can look up the definition of self-advocate, self-fulfilling life, that would be you.
Oh, thank you.
That would be you. And you are with Black Packers, correct?
Yes.
Which I would like for you to talk about that.
Okay.
But Sylvester is the reason why this idea even came about, because Tamika's was there. This is another guest who's also been a former guest of Dish with the Doulas, who is a certified holistic doula, spiritual midwife, and all things amazing. But you were at that workshop, and Taj was at that workshop. And we looked at each other like, we need to have this conversation, because we're gathering as women, which is important to do. That is always important to do. But a lot of times we're not including the men in our lives, having those same intense conversations at the same time, in the same format. And this will just be part one of what we're doing. We know that we won't be able to capture all the things that need to be said, but hopefully with this episode we'll capture some of the important topics. And I have to say this before I go on with the introductions. This show is dedicated to expectant fathers, fathers that are about to have children, like our niece, her husband Dee. This show is for new fathers. There's a good friend of ours, Danger Dave, that's also at the shop, Tri-Seas Tattoo, with King Yada, Lord Yada, who is a father of, I believe his daughter's 2 years old. So he's a new father. And this is also dedicated to my daddy, who passed away last year. And Donald Stewart, for the father that he is to my sister and I. So this is the Daddies, Fathers, Men episode, and it's for those that felt unheard, that have questions, that want to be involved. This is the show for them. So if you know of anyone that this would be empowering and encouraging to, send them this show. Send them this link, this show. So I'll go on and then do my introductions again. Sylvester, I introduce you because you are the catalyst for this show.
Okay.
And to your left is Juan.
Yeah, peace, everybody.
Juan is a father of seven, grandfather of 5. And Juan is the husband of one of my best friends, Dee Dee Shosheta Williams of ABC Publicity, who is our angel. And that's how I met Juan, through Dee Dee. And I used to work with her. ABC Publicity is a public relations boutique firm, and I was a special events coordinator. And getting to know Juan and Dee Dee as a family, as a unit, really provided a lot of blueprint for us. I mean, my saying was, what would Dee Dee do? Because she had 7 children and she knew a lot.
Right.
And to see how you all as a unit, ABC, a Black clan. That's what ABC Publicity stands for, y'all. If y'all know, it's a Black clan. And so I've learned so much in watching you all, and then watching you as a grandfather, now 5. I just learned about the 5th a few months, 10 months ago. So thank you for being here. You are wisdom to me, wisdom. To my far right, y'all's left, Samuel and Tamika's, and between them, parents of 8. And we just got to know each other through Tamika's. But just even the conversations that we've had, the energy y'all were pouring into my niece and her husband, I wanted you here. And I'm glad that you're here. And Tamika, you know how I feel about you. I love you.
Yes, I love you.
And appreciate you.
Thank you.
And last but definitely not least is this brother to my right, y'all's left, Lord Yatta, my husband, father of Sarah, let me go in order, Solomon, Sarah, and Sophia, the 3. And we've been together for about almost 20 years now. It's been that long. It's been that long, I know, right? And of course, you know, we have all the experiences that you've heard me talk about on Dish with the Doula. He's been there. There's some things that have been, you know, maybe just for me in the moments I've been alone, but everything as far as choices of provider and deciding to do home birth and the actual home births, Kenyatta has been present, has been involved, parenting, all over the place, involved. The blueprint I talked about with you, we're creating and have been creating our own blueprint. A lot of times we have what we know from our family, right? What we know of our parents and whatever those experiences may be. I had to learn, and we had to learn, that we have to create our own family dynamic, right? That it's not a repeat of what we experienced as children. Some things were great, some things not so great. We take from what we've learned and we create something else. And then even our children will have to take from what they know and they create, if they choose to be parents, their own experiences.
Right.
But that's something that we had to learn because a lot was expected of us. I don't think, you know, people assume that we've been married all them years. We've been married for what? 4. This will be the 4th. So Stuart Lake did 4, right? So there was a lot of pressure on us, right? I know. A lot of pressure on us to do things that were expected of us. And we had to realize that we had to create what we wanted and not to do things on other people's time or through their definitions. So thank you for being here. So let's just talk about what we're here to talk about. And that are, you know, again, Sylvester, you said, what do I do if someone goes into labor? And can you talk about just why you were even interested in wanting to know? A lot of people, that was a rare question to me, that someone that, you don't have children.
I do not have children.
But you came and had this interest of wanting to know what to do.
One, sisters in my community were having this discussion. If the sisters in our community are having the discussion, it's going to affect us, and it automatically piqued our interest, piqued my interest. With the company I'm with, Black Packers, everything is emergency prep and planning. And when we started doing first aid and everything else that's involved with first aid and learning, it was, okay, cool. Well, we got moms and sisters and nieces and women in our community that are pregnant, that have children, that are going to be pregnant at some point. what do you do? Because outside of calling 911 and waiting, what else is there? And I've been around enough women in our community that have dealt with fibroids, endometriosis, cysts, different types of cancer, different types of pregnancies that weren't going as smooth as they should. And it was, okay, cool. So you see the TV where you call and the cops on the phone and walks you through it, and 10 minutes later you got a baby. But I've had sisters who were in labor for 2 days. That's a lot different from a car ride to Grady.
That's right.
So just to know the basics, knowing that if this starts, what's one of the first things I can do to keep her comfortable?
Exactly.
And the first things to do to keep them both healthy and alive.
Yes.
After that, let me hand it over to a professional. I've walked in some classes in our community for doulas. Hey, it's doula training, come get certified. And I'd walk in with my pad and everyone just stared at me like, why are you here?
And
I'm
that in
like-
itself, that response in itself is, why aren't you here?
And I'm
Exactly.
like,
Why aren't you here?
and
right?
it was I had half of the room looking at me singing, what you doing here? And I'm like, well, just so happens there are people around us that have babies.
Yes.
And I would like
I
to
need
know
to know.
what to
And
do.
I need to know.
Because I don't want to go to the hospital all the time.
Yeah.
I don't
Right.
trust.
Or at all.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
My brother Yada, I saw him and talked to him a couple times about giving birth in a home. Why can't I give birth in my home? We had to do something before hospitals were
Or even
knocking us
invented.
over
That's
head with
right.
bills
Exactly.
and pumping drugs in. I know some physicians. I love them. I trust them.
Yes.
I also know that every hospital isn't there for our best interests.
Yes.
Correct.
So take it in your own hands, and what can you do? If I can cook my own food without going to a restaurant
And grow your own
and
food.
grow my own food without having to go to a store, these other things that happen with us naturally, what can I do? So I wanted to talk to people that knew, doulas, and people that I trusted who could say, yeah, this is a process. You're going to start over here. And once you get this, we can move you on up.
Exactly.
That's where it came from.
And I'm gonna refer to the doula because I know people think I'm a doula because I got a show called Dish with the Doulas.
Yeah.
But I'm a birth educator and I'm a mom of 3 that we did unassisted home births. So yeah, doula's not my calling, but it's this woman's calling. And so taking that, what do you do with that? Like, you have classes. I mean, I know that excites you. I know that that's something that you probably want to hear someone say.
Yes.
Because a lot of times, what do you may find in a situation when you are meeting with clients and the father's role? You know, what do you typically find when you? I mean, are they as involved or?
Whew. I first of all have to explain myself that I do not take the place of the father. That's the number one key. And I remind the mother that he brought the light. And that's why life is created. So he has every being and part of this experience. And what I find myself doing a lot of is reconnecting them. Because it's something about, it's the hormone thing, you know, or, you know, she's mad at me. I said, no, she's not. It's all hormone. She loves you. And even though she's saying, leave me alone, I don't want that. What she's saying, please hug me, please hold me. It's a different kind of communication.
Yes.
So I have to bring it back and tell the father, come back in. Because they're like, well, it's not about me. I said, oh, yes,
It's
it is.
so much about you. It's so much about
all
you.
about you. I said, you're the oxytocin. What that means is you're that big overdose of love hormone that when she looks at you, she lights up. When you're intimate, you light her up even more. When labor starts, it's at its very highest capacity. And during that breastfeeding session where you all come together, the love is overflowing. You are the person she fell in love with. You are the person she trusted.
She's the person. You're the person that she chose to create this
Create
baby
this baby with.
That's a
So
part
you
of it.
have every part to play in it. And so I find myself creating foreplay. Okay? I tell them this is all foreplay because when the birthing time comes about, you can do things like kiss her on the forehead, hold her, breathe with her, comfort her, get in the bed and spoon with her because that love that created that life, we need that same energy to bring life.
And I'm even seeing, y'all, the connection of what is, that is it. Like that nonverbal communication, right? The
Yes.
touch, the look, the all of that is so important.
Yes.
You know, I know that Toliwa, our midwife, always would talk about, and when she would come and visit with us, is she would do the you know, basic check-in and all that, but she would always ask us, what's going on in the home?
Right.
How are y'all getting along together?
Exactly.
Because how we get along determines everything.
Yes, it does.
And if there's trust, if there's communication, if there's faith, if there's vulnerability,
Yes.
it will play, or if there's not, it'll play itself out in the labor. I'm always
Yes,
very
it will.
clear on that. And I don't need to get in everyone's business about what's going on, but just you know what's going on.
Exactly.
So do you want more of that or do you want less of that? Because when you go into labor, there's a process of, and there are different stages. There's a document I love talking about because it's a metaphysical approach to birth. It's called The Emergence of Life. Have I ever shared that with you? I've got to.
Okay.
So you can have another perspective. A lot of times you hear about the active labor and the first phase and the second phase. And that is, you know, those are things that
How many
exist.
weeks and-
But we're talking
Right.
about like what happens metaphysically to a woman,
Correct.
where she has to go on this journey to go get her baby, their baby, to bring to this side. It's a journey that she has to go in, leaving her body, really.
Yes.
If that makes sense, I think it
Yes.
makes sense to folks at this table.
Yes.
But she has to leave her body to go meet this new soul, not even new, this soul, this returning soul. And to be able to do that, you have to have a level of trust of who's protecting your space around you, that they are not just protecting you physically, but they're protecting the space and holding the space for you. To be able to do that. For me to go where I have to go, I have to know that you not just got my back, you got my front, you got my side, you got my up and down.
Right.
And will hold, and I even think there's another layer. To me, a doula is the layer that protects that unit.
Yes.
And then I have also think there should be another layer that protects the space.
Yes.
In Rajania's episode, we did a replay of it today. She said, "Do what you must do." Sometimes at the hospital, for those that have hospital births, you may have to respectfully ask a physician to leave the room. And I don't necessarily think that has to be a doula. Sometimes I think if you have someone who is fearless,
Yes.
who can be in the space, I think that is, I got the first page of The Emergence of Life right here. I think that is called the guide. That may be the guide.
Yes.
So that's like the facilitator.
Right.
So I see you've got the mother and the father, you've got the doula, the midwife, and you've got someone on the outside layer
Yes.
that can shut a door. Don't mind being, you know,
Yes.
having conversation. And again, respectfully. We're not trying to go into places and cause
Right.
havoc because at the end of the day, it's about that baby coming to this side and the mother and baby being healthy.
That's correct.
So I think they're just different layers that need to be present, you know, all being on one accord as far as what that birth, you know, knowing what, okay, she said she didn't want any instruments, any other medication. She didn't want, so if someone starts coming into the room, I've been a part of a birth where someone came into the room and started making all this noise. And it was like, wait a minute,
Yes.
that's breaking someone's concentration.
It is.
What if you have a situation where it's not a loving couple? It's, you know, it's like a one night stand type of situation. not
That's
a-
real. Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Wait. Tamika's has something to say on that one. Go ahead.
Now the husband, and, I mean, well,
Yeah, but
well,
that happens.
The father and the mother. Ain't
We
on the
made
same
this
accord.
baby, but we don't plan on being together.
Right.
Right?
Yes,
It's real.
it's
He's
real.
still present. Speak on it.
I've had a lot of clients like that. I try to catch them. There are situations where people call me with just birth only, and I'm having to come in the room real quickly to
And
know
figure out what's
people
going
and
on.
figure it all out. And I never forget, I had a couple one time with the same situation. Matter of fact, I got a twist on this one. It was 2 men in the room. How about that?
Ooh.
It was two men in the room, 2 men in the room, and a mother. And I walked in. I said, "Hi, everyone." I said, "I've been assigned to you all. How's everybody doing?" Everybody looked at me. "Who's that?" I said, "I'm the doula. I was requested." You know, they said, "Oh, okay." So I said, "I tell you what, before I proceed, can everyone meet me in the hallway, please?" And so,
Not the mom.
not the mother.
Okay.
Just because the mother's laboring. She's doing
Okay,
her
she's
thing.
in labor. Gotcha.
So I had I think it was her sister, I believe. I just told her mom just stay in guard. Told the sister and the two fellows to come out. So the sister and the two guys come out. And I said, I need to know what I'm walking into because I was assigned, she said she wanted a doula, so I'm here. And in order for this birth to go really smoothly, I need to know who everyone is so we all can be on one accord.
Yes.
So I found out is that one guy thought he was the father. The other guy was told he was the father. And so they both showed up.
Okay.
And the sister had just flown in from LA. And she said, I'm in the midst of the mess too.
I don't know what's going on.
And so I said, oh my God, what I walked into. So I said, okay, I said, are you both gonna be here? Like who's the main person? Okay, no, let's back that up. Who's the main focus here? So the main focus is who? The mother. I said, okay, we all on accord on that, okay? So she's the strongest vortex in the room.
There you go.
So what we need to do is find out who can be the guardian, who is the advocate.
Yes.
Because
Start
we
signing
need
roles.
this to go smoothly. Once again, we need to make sure everybody's on the same accord, the same energy is good, so we can have this baby. So the person that says, I'm the father, stays. The guest father leaves. He leaves. And he said, I need some time to process this because she told me one thing. I said, okay, look, this is not about that right now. Can we just focus on that another time? Because right now, this mother
is in labor and ain't
is
stopping.
in labor, and we don't need that kind of energy. So I tell you what you can do. You go downstairs and grab everyone some food. Okay? And because I don't know how long it's going to be. I said, I heard that you all was already here for 18 hours already. So let's not be here another 18. So I sent him downstairs to cool off, go get food. And then I talked to the main guy. And I said, okay, so this is how we're going to do this. This is her birth plan. This is how things are laid out. This is what I need for you to do. This is what I need for the sister to do. I said, we're going to go back in here. We're going to talk to the mother. And we're going to kind of clear the room real quickly.
Yes.
So by the time everybody kind of followed suit, we had a baby in 4 hours.
Ooh.
The so-called father came back upstairs. And so, of course, it's on 3 to a room, right?
Oh. Ooh.
It's on 3 to a room.
Okay.
So I don't supposed to count. However, they was counting me. So I said, who would you want to have present during the delivery? Which
person?
Which person? And so the guy said, well, it's a possibility of mine anyway. I'm staying. I said, okay.
Okay.
I said, well, all right, take ownership. And then the so-called father, I'm going to step out. That's interesting.
Back up. Okay.
I said, okay. Well, I tell you what, you go downstairs and you get some sun. And then I have the sister text you and come back. I said, so when she delivers, y'all can handle that. So it's like, what happened? The stays, and she has the baby, and the doctor at the time let him catch that baby.
He said,
So I was like, he said, catch the baby. He said, yes. You're gonna catch your baby, right? He like, I guess so. So he goes around, and he's catching the baby, and he literally collapsed. I had to like hold him because as the head was coming, he was, oh my God, and
he kept moving back.
I said, hold the baby, hold the baby, like, hold the baby. And so turns out, the father that stayed was the father.
Wow.
It played itself out.
It played itself out. It normally do, but as the birth worker, my goal is to come in and change the whole energy of the room, change the whole dynamic, get everybody to points where they need to be, and that's how it will go smooth.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's not always that way.
But you helped change your perspective of what was important.
Correct.
Because a lot of times what you're saying is, like, even when you asked it was like, I can already just feel like the tension, but that is a perceived thing. It doesn't have to be like that.
It
If
doesn't.
we're focused on, like you said, the strongest vortex in the room, about that mother and the baby coming through, everybody else's needs and desires at that moment, we can table it, put a
Right.
pin in that.
Right.
We'll talk about it later.
I like the fact that both of them showed up, though.
There you go.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes.
I love,
That's-
and that's
thank
what I
you.
love. I said,
Yeah.
okay, we got 2 in here. I love that fact that they was there, regardless of what the dynamic
There
was.
you go. There you go.
I'm just glad both of them there because like it's a possibility.
Exactly.
Please allow me to speak to the dynamic.
Do it. Get to it.
I'm the oldest of 11 children,
Ooh, okay.
and 9 of them are girls.
Mm.
So, and they weren't married. Many of them were not married when they had their children. And so that dynamic exists in my own family, which I was present at most of their births and supported them through the process. What I think is forgotten, no, the misperception is that the mother thinks that she was the only one that was chosen. We have forgotten that these children arrive on the scene because they made a decision, they made a selection
To bring those
for
together.
both parents.
Yes.
Without the one, there cannot
Can't
be the other.
Speak on it. Yes.
And so I know, for example, I'm just going to go to a metaphysical space.
Let's do it.
During a pregnancy, I had to make a decision in the moment if I was going to be allowing. Now, I didn't want any more kids. I was good. You know, I'm oldest of 11. It's like, that wasn't fun. I wish that on anybody else. But I understand the dynamics of it now as far as a village, taking care of a village.
Yes.
But the responsibility that comes with it is like, okay, you know, am I ready for this level of responsibility? But understanding that you were selected for a reason,
Yes.
and I need you, Dad, to be here just as much as Mom. Y'all don't have to like each other, but just love me.
Just love me.
Love that. Just love me.
And I think once we get beyond the dislike, and all that dislike and discomfort, the only thing it's about is it's just a different of the journey. The decision went different in the journey than the other from the one of the two parties. Somebody wanted to go forward, and the other one said no.
No.
And that's where the disruption happened. Instead of saying, you know what, we're on a journey, we're on purpose. This is for a reason.
Yes.
This is for the best and highest good of all
We
people
were brought
involved.
together
We're brought
intentionally.
together intentionally
Yeah.
in order to bring this. Like my father had a conversation. We had a conversation. You know, sometimes we go to this space that nobody else can visit. People tell us that, and so we talk. And I've mirrored his life, and he's mirrored his father's life in many regards. And so we talked about some of the decisions that we've made in the past where we make those same decisions. And being a father of 4, 2 of my children were outside of wedding, outside of wedlock. So that was a single father, single mother dynamic. So I understand it wholeheartedly. Even one of them was told, the one I was married with was told that this is not your child. 3 times.
Okay.
While carrying the baby. But yet I still was present. And so we went back and said, well, would we have chosen this experience if we had to do it again? Would we have chosen this experience? And then he helped me come to an understanding that it's not about what you have chosen it. It chose you.
That's a good one.
And so by understanding that allows us to remove that displaced regret.
Yeah. Whew. Displaced regret. That sounds like a show in itself. It is. That. Like I said, this will be part 1 of the Fathers and Men episode, and that. If I could, I wish I could just rewind what you just said about, because you really simplified it. And I'm a very emotional being, and so there are a lot of times we want to be heard, and you want your point to be made. You know what I'm talking about? And I got to get it out.
Yeah.
But if you really step back, perception is everything. Everything. I think I gave this example in another show, but when you are looking, let's say you're sitting on a bench looking at a sunset, and it's beautiful, but if that bench started rising up, you would just see the sun. You wouldn't see the sunset. So your perception
Yes.
determines what it is. Now, really, there is no sunset.
Exactly. It's not.
There is no sunrise,
There is
depending on where you stand. So you can change your perception about whatever.
Yes.
If it's about the sun, let it be about the sun.
Right.
Or the moon or the stars, right?
Yeah.
So your perception is everything. So when you talked about what really is going on and all the things that we kind of put into it to make it so we can be heard and we can be right, that's when it gets icky.
Yes.
But if we're really focused on what's at hand, the health and well-being of our children, of our well-being,
Right.
a lot of that falls away. And it's really hard. That's where ego has to go out.
I was just about to mention that.
Ego has to leave the room.
It's all about the ego. And ego is simply, if you break it down, the EGO is just edging God out.
Boy, that's it.
That's all it is.
Zinger.
So can you step back? So the question I ask,
Yes.
I'm a spiritual leader too.
Okay.
So the question that I ask people, as I'm coaching them, as I'm supporting them in their life journey, ask them, do you believe God is the Alpha and the Omega? If you agree with me, okay, great. Do you believe that God is the all-powerful? Believe him? Okay, great. Do you believe that God is a great protector? The energy and essence that we know is God is a great protector. Yeah. So why in the world are you trying to do his job? What makes you think you can do a better job than the thing that created everything in 6 days, so that we've been taught? The thing that is the energy and essence of all things that we've been created from. What makes why don't you trust that space now?
There's certain things that we trust
Yes.
as is and walk through this day knowing, but why are we questioning I don't say they're little things, but like there's so many other things that we trust.
The irrelevant things.
The irrelevant things, right?
Right.
The
It really has no
irrelevant things.
relevancy. In the whole scheme of things, it has no relevancy.
Yeah. Perception's everything. One thing that okay, I don't even know how to, my mind just like, pew, 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 pew. Oh, Tamika's, yes.
Real quickly.
Yes.
Another addition to the co-parenting. I think when two come together and they've created this life and they decide, it's not working, but Tamika, how can we get along with each other?
Co-parent. Yes.
How can we get along with each other throughout this experience and what that after effect is going to look like? And so I said, well, let's sit down and talk together, because most of the time when people are looking for birth workers, it's always a woman doing the hunting, okay? And I only had 2 guys reach out to me, 2. And he was like, listen, I saw you with my friend, you helped his wife, I had my wife call you, and I told her we need you, man, because I don't know what to do. But I like to have both of them. I like to sit and talk to both of them.
Yes.
It's always the mama by herself. No. I said, can you bring him in too? Because I don't know what you all got going on right now, but what I try, they say I be putting marriages back together or relationships back together. But I was like, no, it's not about that. Relationship is an entity by itself. It's 2 people coming together, and that third thing is a relationship. Okay, so I bring them together and say, okay, well, listen, how are we going to do this and how are we going to do that? Because at the end of the day, it's about the child. We don't need you getting mad because he moved on to girlfriend and he getting mad because you moved on to boyfriend. Who cares about that?
Right.
The main focus is the child and how we're going to work together. Because I'm tired of the system. Now, I don't know if y'all tired of the system. I'm tired of the system, okay? I'm tired of, he won't do them child support. I'm going to do this. I'm like, boo. The more people you get in your business, the worse it is. So if you all can sit together, sit down together and just work it out, however you want to do it. I did it with all of my children. I have 4. I did it with, let's just work this out. Been great relationship, with the children. I mean, they're big now, 28, 25, 19 and 17. Who knows what the future holds for 2020. However, but sitting down with both of you all and coming to a common ground. What the common ground is this? A baby. And I tell them all the time, the arguments that you have, the stress that you have, that baby feeds all of that.
Everything.
And you all think that the baby don't know anything when it comes in this world. You are so sadly mistaken.
It's a blocker for the oxytocin.
It sure is.
It creates blockages for that oxytocin. So when you're feeling stressed out, or even, that's why it's so important when expecting moms have to be very mindful about who they are sitting next to,
Yes.
who they are around, and even what they're telling themselves.
Yes.
Because that's even
That's
what
even
they're
more
telling.
important. That's more important right
That's
there.
more important what they're telling themselves.
What you say?
More importantly, what they telling themselves.
Because baby feels all that. Now the saving, I want to say the saving grace, the grace
Yes.
is that placenta,
Yes.
That protection that it
that
has.
protection that
Yes.
exists. Shanti Ohm, that made that post. This is an organ that did not exist in her body before this baby was made.
That's correct.
And this organ comes of the baby and fortifies everything that you need. Now, I don't ever suggest this, but if a mother ate McDonald's every day, which I don't say she should, that baby's gonna pull out every bit of nutrient out your marrow if it needs
Yes,
to.
it will. Down to
Because-
the calcium out your teeth.
Yeah. What
Will
the old
pull-
folks say, the baby will kill you if it has to stay alive.
It will.
That-
Yep.
It will do it.
Because it's coming. I'm here. I've got what I need in this house, and so when we have children, we have these concerns. Of course, as parents, we have concerns about being enough, providing enough, giving enough. That baby was born in enough,
Yes.
Yes.
and so
Yes.
we're to fortify it.
Right.
Right.
We're to ensure. We're to make it grow. We're to sustain and maintain. But the baby comes in abundance.
Yes, it does.
Yes.
We all came in abundance. We were housed in abundance. So the fact, like you said, why am I going to question if I'm going to have enough? My birthright
Yes.
was to have enough.
Yes.
More than enough.
Exactly.
That was my birthright.
Right.
But everything out here in the world is saying something else, right?
Yes, of course.
Everything else saying something else.
Right.
So, my brain's all over the place because I'm thinking about that DMT.
Yes, the DMT.
The DMT, so that's is it the God hormone, or
It's
the
the God-
spiritual, the
it's the God
supernatural
hormone.
hormone? That if you look it up on Google, it's gonna say it's manufactured. What'd you
Right.
say? It said.
It reads. Well, I looked it up. It reads like it's man-made. They don't ever refer to it like it's
Something that
naturally
we make.
produced in the
And I
body.
forgot what the actual, and I'll put it in the comments when we have this episode out, what DMT stands for. But it's something that the baby is swimming in. I think Totally Wise said that it happens when you have cosmic orgasms,
Yes.
when you are giving birth, or other trauma, which we don't always have those all the time.
Right.
So when a mother is growing this baby and the baby, that DMT that they talk about being manufactured, we're in it.
Right.
We have it.
It's produced in your pineal gland.
In your pineal gland, that's where it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's
So-
very high in pregnancy because the baby, I'm sorry, it's very high in pregnancy because the baby is subconsciously in delta. So, you know, your brain has alpha, beta, theta, delta.
Ooh.
Okay? Right now we're in beta. Okay? We're in beta right now. So, in pregnancy, when they say women have pregnancy brain,
Mm-hmm.
that's because she's constantly in altered state of consciousness.
Yes.
Because the baby is in delta.
Thank you.
So, you know, it's that chemical that's produced in the pituitary gland. See, you just don't know the whole dynamic and chemical, natural
Release.
chemical, knows how to break it down, surround it, push it through without nothing. And the minute that you put it in there, you alter the course. The baby has its own blueprint of navigation system.
Mm.
You know, you get in the car, you have to be somewhere, right? You put it in the GPS, right? But what if you decide you want to take a left when GPS said keep going? It's saving you 15 minutes. But you want to take an extra 30 because you want to do this or you want to short your time. Shortcuts. What happen in shortcuts? You're going to find yourself going further away from the process. And what it's going to do, it's going to reroute you back. The DMT whole process is to be on a course because he knows eventually there's going to need all of that hormone to heighten the pituitary gland, to heighten those endorphins, and heighten those the melatonin, which is sleep, the natural sleep hormone. Okay, the endorphins are the laughter, the feel-good hormone, and the oxytocin, which is very high. When you say cosmic orgasm, when you have an orgasm so strong, they say your head, we call them head busters. But when your head hurts so bad and you literally leave yourself, or as they say, die in thy lap, as William Shakespeare would say. But that's what's really happening. And so when a woman is talking to you and she's expecting her mind is steadily traveling to and fro, back and forth.
Alter sex.
So the DMT is powerful.
yes, it is.
And remember that whatever you say to her, it's subconsciously has already been processed.
Right. Yes.
It's subconsciously processed. So when she goes into the birthing time and she goes into her transitional phase, that means when she's leaving her body, okay, going to go get the light and bring it back, subconsciously there's a lot of things hidden there. Everything you said about how
Anything.
anything traumatic lives there.
Yes.
As we always say, as a birth worker, I'm the gatekeeper of life and the next life. So I try to protect the realm between this life and next. And so while she's in that between world, I'm keeping her focused to say, okay, everything is fine. You're strong enough. You are enough. Stay focused. Don't be afraid to go into the unknown.
Go there.
Because when you go there, that's where you find the most best things on the other
Yes,
side.
indeed. And the healing.
It's a beautiful thing, and I've done it 4 times. And I tell you, opportunity, I want to do it again.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful cosmic ride.
It
It really
is.
is.
It
And then
is.
when you come back, that's why some women don't remember a lot of things because she's left. So those that's around her would tell the birth stories differently.
Yes.
You know, they would tell it
There'll be
differently.
different perception.
Right. So my
We're going to
goal
keep
is
on
just
going
starting.
down. We're going to keep on. There's a couple more things I'm going to say.
But yes, DMT.
So, in taking all this that we're saying and going back to what do I do? What do I say? Where do I
Right.
go? For me to answer that question, it would be to affirm that she's got what she needs.
Right.
To affirm that she has everything that she needs, even though she may not be in the place she thought she was going to be in, with the people that she thought she was going to be with.
Yes.
She has everything she needs. You are, in that moment, are that protection, are that, what do they call it, the guardian.
The guardian.
You're the guardian in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yeah.
And affirming where she is. That's where you start. You know, because like you said, she's the strongest voice. There's some things happening, whether she knows it or not,
Right.
that she's about to do that are just the miracle, right? The miracle. So that's where you start, is the affirming. Now, I know you want to get more technical, and we probably, also I would say, keep going to those classes to get your certification, because Rajani had mentioned she knows of 2 men that are doulas. So there are men doulas.
Yes.
Now, I will say this, it's probably, and I plug, because the Matrona to me is the premier program for training doulas and midwives.
Yes.
I would say go to the Matrona, because the Matrona's philosophy is also not being intrusive, not being,
Right.
it's empowering families to do the work.
Right.
Toliwa taught me how to check my cervix. Toliwa, and she will be the finale, I keep talking about her, but she said that if a couple comes to me after birth and says, oh, we needed you, we couldn't have done it without you, she feels like she failed. She feels like she failed because she will feel like she didn't empower you enough to do
Right.
it yourself. And not that she won't be there,
Right.
because some people, you know, may need that extra, and that's she provides all that. But ultimately, like she did for us, she saw that we got it.
Right.
Sophia's birth, she just put the mat down and stepped out. I didn't see her for another 20 minutes because we had it. We're classified as unassisted home birth parents, and we've done it 3 times. But there's a level of faith. I said this, and I'm going to say this with you. We've talked about it before. With our second child, Sarah, we planned to do a water birth. And so we, you know, had Solomon. That was an unexpected home birth, but everything went so well that we said we're going to do this again at home. So we went to do a water birth. Got the pool set up. That's when we connected with Toliwa. All that, had it next to our bed in the bedroom, and my water broke on the bed. Kenyatta, and I'm so grateful. And this is what 12 years ago. So doing these shows has given me a different understanding of my experiences, right? But as I was laboring, I'm rubbing the back of his head, which was very, again, being open to sometimes not even knowing what stimuli will relax you. Rubbing the back of his head was very relaxing for me. My water broke on the bed, and Kenyatta said, "You want to get the microphone?" He said, "What did I say?"
Well, you wanted me to carry you
Yes.
over to the pool,
Yes.
and I suggested that I didn't want to. I was afraid to drop it. So I didn't want to drop
But you
it.
didn't feel comfortable.
I didn't feel comfortable.
So the fact that
we
you
did it
felt
on the day.
comfortable enough to say that to me, even though our plan was to have a water birth. Now, in hindsight, well, I'll just tell the rest of the story. In that moment, I knew I needed him. Him telling me that he didn't feel comfortable in taking me over to the pool changed the direction. There was no argument about you gonna take me to that pool because we got this pool set up in the bedroom and we got it full of water and we're gonna have a water birth.
Right.
There was none of that because I knew I needed him. And if he's telling me he didn't feel comfortable in doing something, we're going on plan B. I know that my position in birth is on all fours because I experienced it with Solomon. I know that, so I'm gonna do that, right? Gave birth to Sarah on the bed. We got into that water after we gave birth. Had the placenta in the bowl because we did delayed clamping, cord clamping, and so there, this picture's been seen several times of Kenyatta in the water. I'm in the water. Sarah's in the water.
And he's
bowl,
behind you.
and he's behind
It's
me.
a beautiful picture.
That Rajania took. That picture's been circulating on the internet for 12 years, and it's been a teachable moment because people don't know about the placenta, right?
I just
So
said
that's
a lot though.
huh.
Like gender roles. I'm glad my brother brought up ego. I'm sorry for jumping in.
Let me get closer. The mic closer.
Gender roles and ego.
Yeah.
We were talking beforehand about what a man's supposed to do, what a woman's body is,
What
where
she's
we-
supposed to do. With
where
the
we're
other.
supposed to stop, and to get into the idea that we started this journey together. Is going to go through this child and go through this child growing into an adult until they can start their own journey. All those stay together. There are not many times where men can say I can't. As soon as we say I can't, that man title just is gone. Well, you're supposed to be able to do everything. Flip side of that is outside of provider, protector, and provider of semen so that a baby can be produced, man stops again. It's okay, cool. You can get this house ready for me. You can pay these bills for me. You can make sure I have food and that I'm comfortable. Go to a baby shower. It's changed a lot now, but it's okay, cool. What does the family need? Oh, we need the men over there because
Not
we're
in my
having a
showers
baby
and blessing
shower.
way.
And I was like,
Oh, we'll put a pin in
I'm
that.
so, like I said, I'm glad they've been changing, but I've one of the things we teach in class is be able to carry your partner. You don't know if she broke her leg, you don't know if she passed out, but you in the bottom of Grand Canyon and you gotta get out of there. Can you carry her? Can you carry her down the steps? And when I say carry her, I don't mean it might not be pretty. You might have to throw over your shoulder. You might have to stumble against walls to find support. You might be dragging her. She might be dragging you. But to be in that intimate, life-saving situation, and you say, cool, hey, we got it written out, it's what we do. And for y'all to be like, yeah, I'm not gonna risk that.
I'm not gonna be. Yeah.
That's some God level shit. Because my first priority is your safety. And if right now I don't feel comfortable doing this, if I don't feel comfortable pulling the trigger, if I don't feel comfortable starting this fire, driving a car, I don't feel comfortable calling so-and-so because I don't trust that person. My job is to stop it right there. What else we gonna do? And then to you to say, got you.
I
Thank
hear you.
I hear you. Our next step, our
Next
next
step.
step is this. Then he can say, cool, now I can work on something else right now.
Yes.
And then plan ahead because I got to keep you comfortable. When we get this straight, now we can go to the next thing.
Yeah.
That's where that ego for us as men goes out the window because it's real easy to say, yeah, I can carry you. Come on, let's do that. And go ahead.
So Didi was pregnant with Katamba, our fifth child, and so we at first we had a plan because it was a nurse that lived across the street, and she told us to come over there once she
Went to labor.
started going to labor or whatever, when her water broke. So her water broke, and I go over there, knocking on the door and everything, lady not answering the door. I knocked on the door for about 15 minutes, lady not answering the door. Run back across the street, she was like, okay, let's go. We got our bags packed and everything, jumped in the car. So I'm driving, This is when we were living in Riverdale. So I'm driving to the hospital, and I guess I'm going too slow. So Diddy no, because I asked her a question. I was like, so when we get out here to 85, which direction do I go? 'Cause I'm just nervous. I didn't know what the hell was going on. So she was like, you don't know, pull the car over, just pull over. So she got out, made me get out, and she drove, and she's crowning at this point. Baby's head right there.
That sounds like Dee Dee.
Yeah. And she drove all the way, and she held him and didn't let him come all the way till she got to the hospital. And as soon as she got into the delivery room,
He was out.
out.
That's a story.
That's beautiful.
But there's a level, like you said, of dynamics and understanding, like you said, about roles. Like, I
But
don't
my
like to get
ego didn't say,
No, I got it.
No,
Yeah,
I got it.
you knew
Chill out.
because again, she
I
was the
got this.
strongest vortex in that moment, and I'm sure there was some concern on that, but she had
nah,
it.
I wasn't concerned at
Oh,
all.
okay, there you go. Okay, that's number 5, right? This number 5.
You was number 5.
I'll get out the way. You got it. Let's do it.
Exactly.
Wow. Thank you.
Riverdale, this is
Yeah.
the Women's Center.
Nah, we was living in Riverdale. We was headed to Crawford Long.
Oh, you were in town. Oh, this wasn't Southern Regional thing. This was the. Oh, okay.
Okay, then.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, you want to say something?
I do. This is my brother's question. One of the things that we're working on intently and intentionally is education for the brothers. And not just from what do we do from the space of supporting as a father, but what do we do as far as supporting as a community as well. And just to give that understanding so you can be prepared and so that we can change the dynamic and the ideology of what we are and who we are. And it is so important. I'll tell you, for myself, my firstborn, I was in the military, so I wasn't present until the day he gave birth. She gave birth. My second one, I was there. I called the doctor. I found her provider. I didn't have health insurance on my job, so we set up and we found some insurance. I'm sorry, I found the insurance. Prenatals, I was there. Doctor's appointment, she didn't go to an appointment without me. I took her back and forth to the doctor. I was in charge of that whole process. It was her firstborn, it was my second. Like I said, I'm the oldest of 11, so I've been there. I've been raising kids since I was 13 years old. So I had a confidence in that space. And I knew there was an insecurity there. So I stood in that space for her. And I think one of the most important things that we as men have to do, no matter what level of companionship that we have with them, is to affirm them in that moment. Whatever begrudging that you have with that woman, put it to the back and affirm her, because one of the most essential pieces and distractions that we don't realize that is occurring is the stress that you're adding to that baby.
Dynamic.
In that womb, we watched a documentary just the other day. As early as 20 weeks, a baby has a sense of what's going on the outside. 20 weeks. Now that's 20 more weeks.
That's
to
20 more
develop.
weeks to go. That's a lot.
So what are you putting into this baby? And I believe that words are life. So you can either speak life, you can speak death. Whichever one you're gonna do, speak life or speak death. But you gotta be responsible for what it is.
That's right.
So when you have those children that come out, and we were talking about this the other day as well, like we don't know, between our age, we don't know children to come out screaming and yelling. We don't know that. Because we create these environments that are peace, no matter what the dynamic is, that are peace. And so, but when those babies come out screaming and yelling, we automatically just want to think, like, what was that environment that they were the gestation that they're going through the gestation process with? What was there some serious stress there? Why do they know that agony? Why do they know that pain? Why do they know that? And then to think about the lengths that it takes for, I don't know this lengthy process. Well, I'll take that back. My son, he was lengthy. He wasn't, once I got there, he wasn't lengthy. But prior to that, she had been in the hospital for a
long time.
She was mean though.
Oh Lord,
There's
okay.
a lot of stress going on there. So I can
All you
understand
do.
why that was. And I'm not saying that to discount her, but there was a lot of stress that was happening there.
Yeah.
That child doesn't want to come in the midst of all that. Because we got to understand there's full spiritual being that's coming to have a human experience.
There you go.
So in that spiritual being, all they know is peace and love and joy and harmony. And so now you're introducing them
Something
to fear,
else, the opposite.
all this other stuff.
Yeah.
Like, wait a minute, I don't want nothing to do with that. I'm gonna stay away from that. And so that prolongs them to come in.
Yes, it
Yeah.
does.
What you
Thus,
would-
while the C-section rate gets high, a lot of times we think about, oh no, I'm failure to progress. You're having a baby with your mental state of being. The body's gonna do the work, but where's your mind at?
And you saying that, just realize that our three, they didn't come crying. We can bring it up. They didn't. That's the first time I've even thought about that. Really. And we've been parents for 15 years. Solomon was, like I said, unexpected home birth, and we had partied and celebrated early that night for the tattoo shop. So he was in a celebratory space.
Oh yeah.
Past the hospital, not knowing that I was in active labor. I'm having my lavender in my bathtub and not really knowing that you take a bath, it speeds up the contractions.
does.
If you're in
Yes, it
active
does.
labor, I'm thinking I'm in, it's just the beginning stages, not knowing.
And then,
That adrenaline.
And then boom,
and you threw up.
threw up. So throwing up is
and
part of my
that when she knew it.
transition. I know
Yeah.
that for, whenever I throw up, it's about to start
That's
time for
transition.
pushing. Get out the tub, get on the bed, and hey, it's time to go.
Nah, what
Oh,
you got out the tub, you got in the bed and tried to go to
Sleep.
sleep.
That's it. I thought I was gonna be able to go to
Tried to
sleep.
go to sleep. And then she woke up and was like, oh, hold on. And then we got the co-chatting and everything.
Uh-huh.
And then she yelling at me to get the camera. She wanted me to take pictures.
I was
Grab the camera, take
so,
pictures.
and that was for Sarah's birth too. So me being the planner that I am, I like to document
She
things.
told her mom, call 911.
Did I
She
say
told
what
y'all to
mom?
grab the camera while she on the bed. I'm
Yep.
sitting there like this, seeing Solomon head come out. I was like, I said, I know that face. It looked like my face when I was with you know what I'm saying? So,
Awesome.
yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But I'm just thinking about that. All of them
But
came
they
out
just came out.
smooth.
Another one just.
Sarah came out in Christy's hands. I think she says that I asked her to go back there. There are a couple different things in my mind because I'm in a euphoric state. But you also had the camera then too. I think I was giving commands then too, like get the camera, Christy, get back there, because I'm all fours.
Yeah,
And she
so I
catches
took
Sarah.
the-
But then Sophia, look, Sophia came out clean as a whistle, no vernix, very little blood on her head.
Yeah, she's
Beautiful.
She's like him, very just calm,
Calm.
very calm. And you were talking about that blueprint that babies come with a GPS. I thought about the breast crawl.
Yes.
So the breast crawl
Yeah.
is, and they've done this. You can look it up on YouTube. When let's just say a mother passed out. Let's just say, and that baby came out the womb and still connected. That baby will wiggle itself up to the breast and find the nipple and clamp on it. Not being guided, not being told what to do, not being directed, because there's a blueprint to this whole experience.
Exactly.
People
This
think that. I mean, you talk about that, but giving birth to you said what your mental state was
Yes.
too. But a person could physically be unconscious, just like you said,
That's
and
right.
still give birth.
birth.
Yeah.
Your body's gonna do what it's gonna do.
It's in the
Wow.
DNA. It's genetically.
This is what's gonna happen. So when you think you don't have enough or you don't have it's important to have the aesthetics that you want. I'm not saying that you shouldn't create the experience that you want, but even when those elements aren't there, feeling the freedom to have the flexibility to know that wherever I am, I be. And that's in life.
That's a good one.
That's in life. Wherever I am, I be.
Yes.
And I know because of time's sake, because we gotta respect some time, I wanna go around quickly, starting here, just to give your final words of what you wanna share for this segment, because there will be more. Hopefully you all can join me again at some other point of what you just wanna say about what we're talking about. 'Cause we're talking about everything.
I appreciate the opportunity to be here
Yes, thank you for
and to
being here.
contribute to this forum. I know one of the things that I want, and I share this with Dee, that I want to encourage fathers, because we just talked about stress, right?
Yes.
Right where you are is perfect. There's no need for you to try to do anything else. You know, I share this often, that the word belief actually is two words. Be life. Life. L-I-F-E, be life. The thing that we try to do is we do. So we're messing up the blueprint because we're operating outside of that which we've been selected.
Yeah.
But if we can stay in our space of knowingness and beingness, because we're human beings, right? Beingness is perfect. Everything will line up perfectly and it will show up for you accordingly, and you don't have to do anything. Just simply be. So I just encourage everybody just to be yourself, be authentic, and just be, life.
Tamika?
Thank you, darling. See, that's why we so in sync. I want to just share this. My key word is trust. Trust. Trust the process. As a flower, know that all beautiful things are created in darkness, but when it comes to the light, it is so beautiful. Only if you trust.
Lord Yata.
I don't know what to say. I guess for new and expectant fathers, you just got to be open to the process and seek counsel.
Seek counsel. So that's
I thank all the fathers, starting with mine, that ever dropped their 2 cents to help me stay on and get on whatever path I needed to be on. To any fathers that's not there right now, show up. Go to the school, stop by the house, drop off some shoes, do something. For any mamas that might be on the men's or breaking the men's with the dad, make an opportunity for them to show up. Keep the kids first. The beginning of this year wasn't the best decision making for me, and I heard a couple of people doing that, and we changed our motto to make sure that Black Packers will always be a safe space for kids and women, emotionally, physically, and spiritually in everything that we do, and that's how we're gonna keep pushing it, and that's where we're gonna leave it at.
and Juan.
Say the top priority is children first, and whatever the mother and the father has to do to make sure they put the child first. Nothing that they got going on is bigger than what that child's got going on. So put the child first.
I have one more thing.
Yes.
And I can say it because y'all has done it to me before, very tactfully. Brothers, call your other brothers on their, can I say bullshit?
Yes, you can.
Call your brothers on their bullshit.
Right.
That don't mean you got to go to the house and kick down doors. That might mean you need to sit down and have a beer with them and talk about some real things, or just help him with what he needs to do. Community is taking care of each other. That means taking him, pulling that coattail, and calling on bullshit when you need it, in whatever aspect it may be. Need to take another brother with y'all. Need to be 10 or 12 of y'all sitting down with them, grab them, hold them, hug them, and talk to them.
There it is.
Okay, so I give thanks for each and every one of y'all for being here. That was it. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you for joining us on this amazing episode of Dish with the Doulas. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, please send me a message at Warrior Mamas on IG, on Instagram, Warrior Mamas on Facebook, with an S or without an S, it's all me. And this has been awesome. I'm tingling, and I'm just so grateful for this moment. But again, thank you for joining us for Dish with the Doulas. There's more to come, so stay tuned.